last weekend, I hit 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube, almost exactly a year after I published my first video on this channel. So first off, thank you so much for helping be a part of that growth and the continued growth of this channel. I posted my first video on this new channel, Badass Creatives, on May 28th, 2023, and I hit 1,000 subscribers on May 19th, 2024. Actually, as I was in the Denver airport traveling for a work trip, I opened up my phone while I was in the airport and found out I hit the magic number, 1,000 subscribers! So in the spirit of teaching and educating and giving back to you, I want to share a little bit about all of the steps that I've taken so far to grow this channel from scratch to more than 1,000 subscribers, and what I'm planning to continue doing and some of the lessons learned along the way. Now, a couple of things to note, this is not actually my first YouTube channel, although I did start it completely from scratch because I really wanted a clean slate to sort of test and experiment and just keep track of how things were going. My older channel, which is still around, it's just my name, Mallory Whitfield, that channel has never hit more than 300 subscribers as of now. So when I started this new YouTube channel a year ago, I really wanted a clean slate. I had that old YouTube channel. I have done so many things over the years. I was a theater kid growing up, and I've done a lot of public speaking and teaching. I've produced my own one-person show. I've taught a ton of workshops around digital marketing topics of various types. And I really wanted a fresh start. So I decided to bring back a brand that I had used once before and I was really excited about, which is Badass Creatives. I used to have a podcast for a couple of years that was an audio only podcast. You can still listen to those episodes if you want. I just haven't produced any new ones. But I wanted to start from scratch with this brand and build it up as a YouTube channel. So a couple of the reasons why I chose YouTube to put my focus on, and that's really one of the things. Over this last year, YouTube has been my primary focus as far as a marketing channel. Now, I have worked full-time in digital marketing for the last decade, and throughout the course of my career, a lot of my focus has been on search and SEO, search engine optimization, and those sorts of channels and that content. I got my start doing blogs way back in the day. I started my first really public blog in about 2006, and I had some private personal blogs before that. And so I really love anything that leans into what I call evergreen content. So evergreen, if you think like the trees in evergreen forest, those trees are green all year round. They continue to be green throughout the seasons and will live for many, many years. And a lot of search-based content and a lot of evergreen content is stuff like that. It's basically information that is useful and interesting to people for a very long time, not stuff that you just sort of create for social media and it disappears after a few days or weeks and you've put all that effort into it and then it's just like poof, gone. So that's one of the reasons that I really wanted to experiment and play and see what I could do here on YouTube. And I particularly wanted to focus on long-form traditional YouTube videos. You'll notice I have never done shorts. That's not to say that there's anything wrong with shorts. Lots of people have plenty of success with shorts. I just knew that shorts on YouTube is not what was right for me. So I'd studied a lot about YouTube over the years and I tried some of this stuff with my old channel, but it was sort of in stops and starts and I would try a thing and then sort of get off track, and that channel just felt like it was kind of all over the place. So I really wanted this new place to start some things that I was learning a lot about from a couple of people in particular. The first one is Pat Flynn. So Pat Flynn is the founder of Smart Passive Income, which I've been following his stuff there for years. He has a really great podcast and YouTube channel and tons of free content. Really incredible and generous and kind guy. I started hearing him talk a lot about his newer YouTube channel. So back at the end of 2020, height of the pandemic era, he started a new YouTube channel devoted to one of his other passions, which was Pokemon. So he started this YouTube channel called Deep Pocket Monster, and it grew way faster than any of his Smart Passive Income channel did. That channel, the Deep Pocket Monster, now has like 850,000 subscribers. Right? And so I really listened to some of the stuff that he had to share. Now, one of the things I heard Pat talk about a lot, especially for new YouTubers, was this idea of at the beginning, when you're starting a new channel, you're gonna suck if you've never made video before, right? So you just have to just do it, put in the reps, get it out there, create stuff, make it as good as you can with the skills that you have now, and then just publish it and kind of like see what works, learn each time. Right? So I really came into it with that sort of growth mindset. One of the things related to that is that he talked about just planting your seeds, like thinking of each YouTube video as a little seed, and you're going to stick them in the ground and see what comes up, because some of them might grow, some of them, nothing might not happen out of it, but you might learn something along the way. And he talked about doing that and really just focusing on getting to publishing 100 videos. And that has really been a big thing along the way for me. So I actually made this little sheet. So this is 10 by 10 rows. So this is 100 circles, right? And I keep this on my bulletin board, and you can see this one right here. This will actually be video number 43 as far as my public videos. And so I really have just been focused on getting in the reps, making these videos, learning something each time, improving and testing and iterating and figuring out like what works for me, what works for the audience, what works for the algorithm, all of the things. Now, another thing that Pat talked a lot about that I really took to heart was this idea of focusing on determining what your title and your thumbnail is first before you ever really go into like scripting and planning and recording and editing the video. So the focusing on the title and thumbnail first is one of the things that Pat talked about that really made a big difference with him going in fresh with his Pokemon Go Deep Pocket Monster channel versus when he had focused on his other channel. That and niching down, which I'll talk about more in a minute. But here on YouTube, the title and thumbnail are important because those are the two things that somebody has that they can see before they ever watch your video. And that's gonna help them wanna click through and start watching. And then from there, you need to also make sure that they keep watching, of course, the whole video. Now, a lot of determining titles and thumbnails is all about human psychology and good copywriting. Lots of stuff that I knew from my background in marketing, but if you're new to this stuff, one really great resource is Creator Hooks. So Creator Hooks, they have a paid software, but they also have a really handy free newsletter they send out like once a week. So if you go subscribe to Creator Hooks newsletter, basically each week they take a few of viral videos that have like kind of shot up compared to the other videos on those channels, and they kind of break down the title and the thumbnail and exactly like what about those titles and thumbnails is really working, especially from like a psychology and copywriting perspective. So certain titles might perform really well because they create curiosity. They create that curiosity that makes somebody want to click through and watch the whole video. Some of them prey on other human emotions, things like fear or scarcity. This is all part of like marketing and sales and copywriting and all these things. But I think that Creator Hooks does a really, really good job of kind of breaking it down and giving you tangible, actual examples of how you could take those ideas and potentially use them for like other topics. So highly recommend that. Okay, and then Pat Flynn was also one of the people that really made me decide to double down on long form traditional YouTube videos and not do shorts at all. He talked about how with his newer Pokemon channel, he had tried shorts once or twice when they were first coming out. YouTube was really like wanting people to do these. But what he found was that with him, the shorts attracted a very different audience that then didn't really want to watch his other types of videos. And for him, and kind of like for what I want to do, it was actually better to just stay focused on the longer types of videos. And again, this is not for every channel. This is a very specific understanding, like what are your goals and intentions for your own channel. So for me, I don't really love short form, fast-paced social media. I've never been on TikTok, y'all. Like maybe that will change one day, but Instagram Reels, TikTok Shorts, like that whole format, just sort of, it's my energy. It's like too much and I don't want to do it. Okay, and so that brings me to another thing. So I briefly mentioned this, the niche thing. Pat Flynn talks a lot about the niches are in the riches, or the niches are in the riches, but focusing in on a particular niche or a particular target audience for your YouTube videos. And this is so important. This is kind of foundational marketing 101 when it comes to whether you're doing a YouTube channel or selling a physical product or pretty much anything, right? It's really helpful to be really clear about who your ideal audience or your target customer is. That said, this is also something that I personally have struggled with for a really long time, the idea of niching down. As a multi-passionate person, I love lots of things, right? Like I grew up doing theater and ballroom dance, and then I've done other types of performance, and I love making these YouTube videos, but then I also love teaching and sharing information about marketing and branding, and not to mention I love plants, and there's so many things that I love. And what I've realized for myself is that to think about the people that I want to try to reach and the people that I want in my circle, in my community, hanging out with me, I have more clarity around that if I think about it that way than if I think about a niche in a sometimes more traditional sense. And I think your niche is something that you can start with one idea of your niche and continue to clarify and adjust and sometimes even pivot. So if you go back to some of my earliest videos, I probably say things like these videos are for artists, makers, and handmade businesses, which is still actually true. That is absolutely where I got my start, and that is who I love working with. I used to sell at craft shows for many years. I used to run an Etsy shop and an online shop and work with other handmade artists and makers. And I've also realized that for myself, that's not exclusively, and that doesn't fully encompass the people that I care about. And so more recently, I've sort of adjusted my positioning to still include those people in my mind. But the way I'm talking about it is multi-passionate, creative weirdos and misfits, because that's what I feel like I am. And when I really start talking to my people, I feel like most of them identify with that as well. And they might also be artists, makers, handmade businesses, but they might also be doing other things too. They might be puppeteers like my husband, and also poets and music writers like my husband, combining lots of different things into one creative idea. Now, this niching idea, there can be pros and cons to weigh. There's always going to be a dark and a light side to pretty much anything. And if you pick something that is a much narrower focus, like Pokemon, for example, with Pat Flynn, if you pick something that is super, super specific and stick to variations of that super specific topic, it's actually going to be much easier and usually much faster to grow a YouTube channel or a business or pretty much any type of brand. But if you want to grow that brand for the long term, you have to make sure that it's something that you're going to be able to stick with. And so for me, I started to realize that narrowing into only artists, makers, and handmade businesses through that idea, it wasn't exactly giving me enough wiggle room to be able to talk about all of the things that I was knowledgeable and passionate about sharing. And this is going to bring me to some of the mistakes I made, or not even mistakes, but things that I could have done differently if I wanted to, that probably could have grown my channel faster. Okay, so let's go back to May of last year when I was first getting started with my very first YouTube videos for this channel. So like I said, I created this sheet which had nothing filled in at the very beginning, and my first goal was just to get it halfway across this first line and that first line filled in. So just getting to my first 5 and 10 videos. I really wanted to break down the 100 goal plan, which you can see I'm not even halfway there yet. I wanted to break it down from trying to get to 100 videos eventually to just getting my first 5 to 10. Around the time that I was starting this channel, I was reading this book by my friend Monique Malcolm, Don't Let Fear Have All the Fun. I've recorded a couple of interview videos with Monique here on this channel, so if you want to watch those, check them out. But she talks in this video about ways to take tiny actions and to break down those big goals into small actionable steps. And one of the things that I love is she talks about kind of creating and planning for ways to reward and celebrate yourself. So I really took that to heart. So I would, at like 5 videos, I think I got myself a special ice cream. We went out and had ice cream. At 10 videos, I planned to get myself a massage. I've done things like has planned for a special date night out with my husband. So sometimes it's like really big things, sometimes it's small things, but I like to plan for those ways to reward myself for all of this hard work, because it is a lot of work. One of the other things that I did, especially for my first 10 to 20 videos, was I have an existing library of content on my website. So I have been doing various blogs and websites. I mentioned I had a podcast under the Badass Creatives brand. So I had certain material that was relevant to the audience I wanted to create videos for here on YouTube. It was just in written form or in other forms. And so now 3 of my most popular videos so far are from that initial 10 or so videos, and they were all based on blog posts that I already had that were already generating traffic to my website, to just the blog post. So I created videos based on those. Some of those were my top craft show must-haves video and blog post. One of those was my Etsy SEO video. And then also I have a video and a blog post about how to get started selling to retail shops and boutiques. And so I made those videos using the existing content as an outline or script for the video. And then once I had the video created, I went back to the blog post, updated that blog post, made sure that all of the links and other information were kind of up to date in case it hadn't been touched in a while. and I also embedded the video into the blog post. Now, I also use Pinterest images in conjunction with all of this. Pinterest is a search engine as well, something I also really love. So I created a Pinterest-friendly image for those blog posts as well to kind of put that on Pinterest. That helps drive traffic back to the blog post. So basically, I'm kind of working with these things all in conjunction. It's one idea or one piece of information as far as the content, but I'm kind of using this ecosystem of YouTube and my blog and Pinterest to kind of all bring people back to the same useful information. And I think leveraging what I already had that was working was really helpful. You definitely don't have to start this way if you're starting completely from scratch, like that's fine. But know that if you have a blog or website, you can definitely do this in conjunction with each other. You can even use the transcripts. YouTube provides a great transcript already. So a lot of times I've taken that transcript and I've kind of cleaned it up to kind of pull out for the blog post for situations where I was creating a new video and didn't already have a blog post. Sometimes I've done that. But for some of these blog posts that were already getting a lot of traffic, like the craft show must-haves video, for example, that blog post was one of my most top trafficked blog posts on my site. So I created that video. When I first created the video on YouTube last summer, initially it didn't get a lot of views on YouTube. It actually took about 5 or 6 months. And then all of a sudden in my analytics, you can see it starts to all of a sudden just skyrocket, and it really picked up. And I thoroughly believe, because I can see from some of those particular videos that a lot of the initial traffic was from an external source, my website. So people were watching it directly in the embed on my blog post. But then once people started watching it, then YouTube started to understand who else on YouTube to show it to. And then it started being shown along with other related videos, similar craft show videos, or in the case of the Etsy SEO one, similar Etsy SEO videos. Now, okay, this brings me to something that I could have done differently if I wanted to grow the channel faster. And this is up to you for determining what is right for you and your business and your YouTube channel. So the Etsy SEO video, which was based on a blog post that I already had, that was actually the first video on my channel to take off. And it's still one of my most popular videos on this channel. And it started getting picked up by YouTube. It started getting associated with other Etsy videos, other Etsy SEO videos. It started being shown alongside some very popular videos and content creators that are making pretty much only content about Etsy. Now, if I had wanted to really grow this channel and just double down on Etsy and Etsy SEO, I could have made another video about pretty much that same topic. I could have built upon that same information, released a video, and it might have helped grow this channel faster. That will often help. That said, this is one of the reasons why eventually I wanted to broaden my niche, my target audience, out to multi-passionate creatives, because I knew that long term for me, if I got too stuck by the YouTube algorithm in that Etsy SEO box, that I was not interested in only talking about Etsy SEO for the rest of my life, I was going to just lose my mind. That's not what I wanted to do. Now, same thing with craft shows. I could actually talk a lot more about craft shows, and I actually am planning some more craft show related video content. I sold at craft shows for many years. I even wrote a book about it, right? I spent a decade selling at craft fairs and art markets and events, but it's been a while since I've done it, and I wanted to talk about other things. There were lots of things that I wanted to talk about. And if you are watching this video and you are one of my people, if you identify as a multi-passionate creative person, then you might feel like you need to broaden the scope of topics that you're going to be able to talk about so that you don't get sort of like trapped into a little tiny box. Because that's the thing, is like with all of these algorithms, whether it's YouTube or Instagram, they really want to, be able to sort of pigeonhole you. They want to put you in that box because it's easier for them to show your content to more people, to get those people to binge that content and stay on their platform. Because at the end of the day, if you think about any social media platform or even with search engines, think about what is in their best business interest, and then you can kind of reverse engineer it and figure out like how their algorithms work. Because most of these platforms just want to keep you watching or consuming their content. They want you to stay on YouTube or stay on Facebook or stay on Instagram so that they can show you more ads, so that they can make money. But I've lived 4 decades on this planet, and I knew that for me, the only way that this channel would be sustainable for me long term was to not put myself in a tiny little box that I would get sick of very quickly. So I knew that slow and steady growth was actually much better for me. And I still managed to get to more than 1,000 subscribers in less than a year. It didn't happen in 8 days. Like some YouTube videos I've seen, people are talking about like, I hit 1,000 subscribers in 8 days. Well, good for you. And I hope that that is long-term sustainable. I really do. I just know that the way that a lot of times people get to those big subscriber counts very fast is something that formula, that way that they're doing that long term is going to burn me out. And that's the thing. Everybody's journey is different, whether on YouTube or in business or in your creative endeavors, whatever it is. Ultimately, you have to decide what is going to make you happy and fulfilled and give you energy rather than drain your energy. Like I mentioned with my craft show video, that video sat here on YouTube for 5 or 6 months before it really took off. And then I have other videos, some of the videos that I'm the most proud of, and those have not gotten many views at all yet. YouTube is a marathon, not a sprint, but so is life, and so is most business and creative endeavors. But if you want something and if it feels truly like it's in alignment for you, then you will just have to keep going and keep putting that one foot in front of the other. And that's what I like about evergreen content. That's what I like about search-based platforms, things like YouTube, blog posts, search engine optimization, Pinterest. Not to say that there's not great things about some aspects of social media too, but I really just love evergreen and long-form useful information and sharing things that will continue to be useful for people for a long time, because it might not take off immediately, but if you create stuff that is really useful and interesting and engaging for people, people will find it, the right people will find it, and it can continue to bring those people to you for a very, very long time. If you're on your own path to grow your YouTube channel to 1,000 subscribers, I wish you all the best, and I hope that this video was useful for you. If you want to learn more about any sort of digital marketing things, creative things, I have a ton of other videos. Like I said, over 40 already on this channel, so check those out. And I've also got a lot of free resources on my website, badasscreatives.com. I host a monthly free strategy session for my email subscribers, so you can check out the link in the description below or head to badasscreatives.com and check it out. I'll see you next time. Hey buddy, what's up? Do you know much about algorithms? You're a robot after all.